Good morning. It's early in the morning here. We're in Germany, and I did post a response to your video because I stumbled across it on Facebook. And as I typed, there's actually much more that I want to say about this than what I typed, but there's only a couple letters that I can use. So here I am. First off, before I make any comments, I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm not here to defend anybody, but I think there's many valid points on both sides that need to be addressed. And I am teaching in Germany at an after-school program. In Germany, a lot of classes stop at 12 or 1, and the kids then go either home and do their homework and go play or whatever, or they go to an after-school program where we come in place, and where they can also do their homework, but also spend time with their peers. And we offer different, well, we don't have a curriculum. It's a little bit of a different way of working compared to the teachers in the schools. That's why I think I have a better chance of actually doing what I want to do with the kids the way I do it. But that said, I recently graduated to be a teacher for retro-inspired culture of learning. And if anybody started digging into the philosophy of Loris Malaguzzi and the teachings in Reggio Emilia, that knows that it's very child-centered, very focused on the ability of the child to know what they need in their progression of development. And when I did that school to be that kind of teacher, I basically just found out how I was been teaching is now called, it gave it a name. So it's like I've always been thinking like that, and it's hard to do that in a school. It's hard to do that in a school environment. I do understand, I guess Jeff is his name in the video. You have a very valid point. A lot of scientists that have been figuring out how people learn have said exactly that. And it took a couple of years and a couple of trials, and sorry, I got something in my eye, to get there. And learning, what you learn in school is not necessarily the things that you're being taught, as weird as that sounds like, but a lot of times it's the emotional connection that you have to a subject. Meaning, if you go in and you have a teacher that is crazy about math, loves it, and can transform that into everyday life and makes you realize how important math is in every little detail of what you do, then you will walk out there and say, math is great. I might not always get it, but I know I can use it, and I know it's needed. And one thing that I always have with my students is when we sit there and the first graders come and they're like, oh, it's so hard and I don't get it and it's complicated. And then you go there and you make them realize that math is unbelievably reliable. It's something to hold on to. It structures. You don't have to re-figure it out. 1 + 1 = 2, no matter where you are in the world. Almost. Let's not get into astrophysics. But it's a solid thing. It's security, it's safety, I know it's there, and I can rely on the answer always being the same. I don't have to figure it out. I have to figure it out once. Once I figured it out, that's it. And I can use math to go wherever I want to be and figure out other things with it, because it's such a reliable source of information and a base for something. And this is coming from somebody who hated math at some point. I had an F in math in 8th grade. Okay, so but I ended up having a great teacher in the 9th and 10th grade, and that helped. So And my son taught me too. That was, he rocks, he's awesome. But the point that I'm trying to make is, Jeff, let's call him Jeff, I guess that's his name. So Jeff goes and I don't know what the previous story in the classroom was at that point. I'm assuming you gotta look at it, and I know there's been a relationship going on between the teacher and the kids. It might not be a good one, but still a relationship. And so I don't know what caused the situation, but apparently she wanted him to leave the room, and he felt compelled to tell her what he felt about her teaching skills. What he says about teaching and learning is 100% true and correct. And it is sad that she did not respond the way she could have responded. I love the saying. It's like what we learned in the class for Reggio-inspired culture was that the phrase "you will not talk unless spoken to" doesn't go for the students; it goes for the teacher. Meaning, we are the tools for you. We are there to provide an environment, the ability, the tools that you need to progress at your own level, to do your own learning, and discover things with you, monitor that, document that, to reflect it back to you, to show you how you learned and what you learned. So when you are an adult, you know how you learn. You know how to, as of your best ways that you can possibly do, give things back to the community. That's where it gets tricky, because that's great, that's wonderful. But fact is also, and I think somebody stated that in one of the comments, is a lot of teachers start out like that, even though they might not be Reggio teachers or whatever, but they start out like that. Why do you become a teacher? You don't become a teacher because you want to earn money. You don't earn money. You cannot, at least in Germany, I doubt it's in the States any better, I cannot feed my family on my own. It's not possible. Okay. So I don't do it for the money. Nobody does that for the money. Everybody that is a teacher, 99%, I don't know what happens to the other 1%, but I doubt that anybody, and I don't know any teachers that did, starts out saying, oh God, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do in my life. Fuck, man. Okay, well, what the heck, I just gotta make some money, let's be a teacher. Nobody does that. Everybody that's a teacher does it because they believe they want to give something back to the future of that country that they live in, or the future of the world for that matter. It's a belief. You don't go teaching because you say you're bored or you want to make money. There's no career in teaching. It's not. When you're a teacher, people look at you, or I was like, I here in Germany, I can only say that about in Germany, and I think it might be good for a lot of other countries except for a couple. When people talk to me and they say like, you're teaching, yeah, whatever, like coffee drinking, making money, and that's just how society views teachers. They don't think teachers are important. And if the society believes that teachers are not important, then that gets fed to them. You know that you're not important. Even though I believe that's one of the most important jobs in the entire society, because we're shaping what comes out at the other end. So, that said, yes, there is a paycheck involved, but generally that's a small one. And that's not a problem, because everybody that learns to be a teacher knows that ahead of time. Nobody goes to school forever and ever and ever to be a teacher, and it takes a freaking long time to get there. And it takes a lot of your money to get there. And then says, oh crap, man, what kind of freaking paycheck is that? That's not what I went in for. Nobody does it. Everybody knows that. That doesn't mean they can complain later on when they realize that not only the paycheck is crap, but also the system that they're stuck in is crap. Their abilities to teach are highly limited. The funding to do that is highly limited. The time they have is highly limited. And you have one teacher for I don't know how many kids. That's where it gets tricky, because when you sit there and you have all these kids, and you know in your heart and from what you've learned and from what you wanted to do that every single child of those kids has a very individual path to develop themselves, and they have a right to do so. Then it gets tricky, because if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at 20 kids or 26 or 30, how am I supposed to do that as one person? I might have gone in there in the entire system thinking I can change it, or I can defy the system, and a lot of young teachers still have that spirit and the motivation, and I was lucky to have one of those teachers, so I could actually graduate from my own school. But if you look at how things and time progresses, people keep running into walls. And when you run into walls, at some point you're starting to get very frustrated. So you kids are sitting there being frustrated because the teacher has no more motivation to teach. And the teacher is being frustrated because the kids appear to have no more motivation to learn. You both are a victim of the same thing. If teachers are being recognized as for what they do, and maybe even one day get the financial compensation for it, compared to somebody who is in a corporate blah 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 and makes his fucking thousands and millions. And yes, I'm a teacher and I'm very emotional about this right now. Okay, so sorry. So, okay. If that would be the case, and society would see what teachers do, then they would give them the space, the opportunity, the funding, the teacher-to-child ratio that's needed to actually teach the way things should be taught. And then I do have time to grab 5 kids and sit down and patch through to them what I find inspiring and motivating, what I find amazing in this world that I want to give to these kids. And when I'm able to do that, what first gets instilled in them is my passion for what I just taught. It's not even what I taught, it's how I did it. Like he said, reach their hearts. But for that, I need the environment to do that. The teacher needs the same thing. We need environment to provide environment for you guys. So I totally agree with Jeff, or whatever his name is. But I also do understand where she's coming from, even though I think her response is a bit sad. But I don't know the whole story on where we're getting to that and what the personal relationship between the teacher and the student is at that point. But if you guys, all these people that wrote all these comments, you all believe the same thing. And I'm pretty sure while I'm recording this and while I'm doing other stuff, there's more and more comments, and I'm pretty sure that thing went viral. Change how things work. Don't go at one single person. It's not gonna change crap. It's gonna make her feel bad, and it's gonna make him feel good, and whatever is happening. And the person that posted her personal information, that's total crap. I'm sorry, that's not how you fight a battle. Because you're not gonna get to the point that you want to get to, and that is improving education. Fight for funding, fight for better schooling systems, fight for better education for teachers, fight for smaller classes, fight for more time, fight for better funding for all kinds of material, fight for change of fixed system of this is how it has to be, change how learning is happening. And if you go to any of those alternative schools all around the world, and I'm not talking only about Reggio-orientated schools, you can take Montessori or whatever, you know. I mean, I don't believe in dancing your name will help you for the rest of your life. But these people have started to change something. And these people said, go and try it this way and see what comes out at the other end. The sad thing is, we really cannot afford to experiment on education. Because every time we do that and every time we get it wrong, and we have been, we have another generation of people that's funny. Sorry, I'm tracking away, but I believe my son said that to me, and he's incredibly smart. He's like wicked smart, right? And that's not my fault. He was like, wait a minute. During my whole school life, I was taught to, now here it comes, listen, be still, do what you're told, finish something within a certain particular time in a very particular way. And I get out of school and society wants me to think for myself, be creative, be responsible for my own actions, feel responsibility for other people. What the hell? If we want people to be like that, we have to teach it in the schools. So, just my own 2 cents, and it didn't fit in a comment. And it would be really great to hear from other teachers how they think about that. So, and from the students, and what you guys think you could do in the community that you live in to change that. Go.